What is up, everyone? It's your boy Norn Radd 89 here, bringing you another video. For today's video, we are going to be talking Predator Badlands. I went to watch Predator Badlands last night in the theater. Today, you're going to find out my thoughts on the film. This is one of my most anticipated of the year. When I found out this film was coming out, Predator and Alien franchise for me, they're just right now just at the top of their game. So Predator Badlands was one I was highly anticipated. Now today you're going to find out my thoughts, positives, negatives, and rating. So let's do this. Roll it. So as I said, for me, the Predator franchise and the Alien franchise are two franchises that are just at the top of their game right now. And Predator Badlands is one that I was really excited for because what Dan Trachtenberg was planning was putting us in the shoes of following a Yautja predator the whole time, or a youngling. In this one, he's a runt. His name is Dek, and he's part of a predator clan. But like I said, he's the runt of the litter. He's the weakest part of the clan, or that's what they think. So they want to cut him out of the clan. So this is kind of his story, his underdog story of him proving himself and earning his stripes as a Yautja. And along that journey, he meets Elle, who is actually a synthetic Weyland-Yutani synthetic. So I think it's really cool. We have kind of this almost buddy cop adventure journey type film going on and stuff because we have two characters who are completely different. Whereas this goes right into positives, is that Dek, being our lead protagonist, he's very stoic, very quiet, and much more just kind of, a badass predator. And then we have Elle character who plays Thia, and I think she does a great job of, counterbalancing Dek and being that light levity to the story. There is comedy in this film, but it's much more natural and situational comedy. And I think it lands. And like I said, the dynamic between the two lead characters is a fantastic reason why. Another thing I loved about this film, too, is this isn't a complex or convoluted film. This is a very simple film, like I said, about an underdog story about Dek trying to earn his stripes. And when you do that, you just leave yourself open as a creator and a writer to focus on other things like the world building, the special effects, the fight scenes, and the choreography and everything, because all of the stuff in here is amazing. This is much more an action adventure type film, but there is, like I said, it is horror elements in here, but it's much more action adventure. We get a lot of fight scenes. I mean, within the first 5 minutes of the movie, we get a fight scene between two predators. So that's really cool, is that this film does not spare any expense when it comes to the pace. It is a breakneck pace, and they go for it most of the way. There's a few scenes where they stop to, like I said, add levity, talk. We get a little bit of character development, but for the most part, 75% of this movie, it's just action upon action upon action. Also love the CGI. I love the special effects in here, and this is one that I was championing right away. Predator Badlands is because looking at it, even in the trailers, I can tell the CGI is just so much better. To compare it to something that just came out now as well, too, this year, Welcome to Derry. I'm like mixed on that show because the CGI is so wonky looking, and I hate when it takes me out of the TV show or the movie. If your CGI is that bad where it takes me out of it, I don't like it. And Predator Badlands doesn't feel that way at all. Everything feels very natural. All the creature designs are interesting. The world that we are on with him and Thia as they're trekking around this new globe, like this different dangerous world that has plants and animals and all these creatures that are just ready to kill you at every turn. I think they did a good job, like I said, realizing the world and bringing it to life, like I said, especially with the special effects and even the practical effects, because a lot of it, too, is real. Like I said, Dek is a man in a bodysuit. Like, of course, the face, the movements of the face are CGI and stuff, but the suit, the actual movements, the stunt actor, everything, it's an actual actor in that body. The other thing I loved about this film, too, is by the time we got to the third act, we have this moment where it's just, you realize, like, you're on board with this character, like no matter what. Like this character, you earn your stripes with them. It's like going on this journey is so fun. And the fact that we have, like I said, Dek, who has teammates in this one. Thia isn't the only member. There's also a creature that ends up helping out and joining their crew too. So it's kind of like this little buddy trio team thing that has to go in and tackle the third act and just to see it. And then we also have an antagonist character that's played by Elle too as well, named Tessa. And I think she does a great job. because it's, like I said, two polar opposites, where we have one that's very lighthearted and bubbly and very excited to be with a Yautja and excited to go hunting and, experience all these new animals and stuff. And then we have Tessa, who is more of the synthetic, that is very, mother driven, that is here for the mission and wants to collect species and animals and bring them back for Weyland-Yutani. So as you can tell, this is a film that I completely enjoyed, for real. In terms of negatives or mixed, there really isn't any negatives or anything like that when it comes to this film. This is a film that I was totally on board with, and it met just about every expectation I had for it and exceeded them, because building the lore and my excitement after seeing this movie, I loved it. There's so much world building, so much lore building that adds to the Alien and the Predator franchise, and I love it. And in terms of what films you kind of have to see before this film, I suggest you would at least see, like said, at least one Predator film before you see this film. I don't necessarily think you have to see the other Predator movies before you see this one, but I suggest you see the other Predator films because they're pretty much all great. Like, this is a franchise that has very few misses, very few. There's only like 2 bad Predator films, and that's even if you're including AVP, the 2 movies. So I think this is a fantastic franchise, and like I said, in terms of mixed and negatives, there really isn't any. If I was to think of a mixed, it's that I could understand people or audience members who went into this film, and if they don't want to demystify the Predator or see a Predator be humanized, this isn't going to be your movie, because like I said, this is very different. We are used to seeing the Predators as antagonists, and like I said, in AVP, that was the only time really we ever saw a human actually really work with a Predator and team up and stuff like that, or even Predators. We saw it with Adrian Brody as well, so we know that we can earn their respect and be like a warrior to them. But like I said, this is a different way of looking at a Predator from the perspective of he's our main character. And like I said, you get to learn this character. You get to humanize with this character. And he feels very, real, like somebody you could talk to almost, even though Deck speaks the Predator language. There's subtitles in this movie too, which I thought was really cool. The Yautjas speak truly just their language, so I think that's very interesting and cool that we get to see that in this movie too. So yeah, if that's something that is going to bother you, I could understand why you might not like this film. But for me, this film knocked my socks off and really met every expectation I wanted, because it's the best in terms of action adventure that I've seen all year. Just the Predator lore, the sci-fi stuff, I'm so there for it. Maybe another mixed, I could say, let's see, when we're thinking about mixed and negatives, blood and gore. This is a PG-13 movie, and this is a really gory film, but we're talking about alien gore and synthetic gore, so there's no blood, so they don't get the rated R rating. But I think it would have been cool if we did get, like I said, some human kills and stuff. But when you add that in, you're just going to straight up get an R rating. I don't necessarily think this film needed the R rating. But like I said, me being just a fan of the franchise, it would have been cool. Because like most of all the other Alien and Predator films are all rated R. So this is a unique thing. This is definitely something different. But that's what's really cool too, is being your 8th, 9th film in a franchise. They're striving to do stuff differently. And Dan Trachtenberg is a great director. And he loves this content because he did Predator Killer of Killers, the animated film, as well earlier this year, which I think was fantastic. And Predator Badlands is even better. So that's what I mean. This guy really knows this content and loves this world. So in my book, Predator Badlands, for a Radd rating for this movie, it's going to get a 9.5 out of 10. It's right there, very close. I want to give it a 10 out of 10, but then again, when I'm thinking about it, this isn't. There's 2 other Alien films and Predator films that I like a lot better than this film. So I wouldn't say this is, like I said, it's a 10 out of 10 yet. This is a 9.5. And be sure you stay tuned to the channel and have that notification bell on, because I will be ranking the Predator franchise now that we have a new Predator film in the franchise. We're going to be ranking them, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel. But like I said, there's just something holding me back from giving it that 10 out of 10. But 9.5 out of 10. Very strong film, one that I highly recommend that you all check out in theaters. But if you're not a fan of this franchise, like I said, this might not be your thing. If you're not a sci-fi horror geek, or you're not into the Predator franchise, I don't see really why you would go see this, but I'm suggesting and highly recommending it, because this is a film that's packed with action, adventure. It got good comedy as well, but like I said, it's not something that's going to strain your credibility or like, pull you in like crazy, or, make you think too much or convoluted, complex thoughts. You know what I mean? It's a very simple story. So I think that's why a lot of general audience members will be able to grab onto this story. But thanks for sticking around, me all, for this video as we chatted Predator Badlands. Please let me know down below in the comment section, what are your thoughts on this film, if you've seen it in the theaters, or are you planning on seeing it, and how are you feeling about the Predator franchise right now as we're going into the future? Are you excited? I would love to discuss with you, but please also like the video. That definitely helps out the channel. Subscribe, share, all that jazz. I greatly appreciate it. But most importantly, y'all know what's up. Have a safe and happy day. Peace out.